Investing Bros. It is Friday, meaning the last show of the week. And guys, we got a great show lined up for you because number one, we got Army Piper back filling in for T-Shroom on his vacation. So sad to see T-Shroom go, but very happy to have Piper back on the morning show. We're going to be breaking down a lot of stuff for you guys. Not necessarily heavy news day, although there are some smaller stories I'm going to go through here later on in the show. Definitely want to hear Piper's opinion on them, want to hear your guys' opinion. So make sure you're engaged in chat throughout the entire show today. Give us your opinion. Smash that like button. And again, guys, we just recently jumped over 4,000 subscribers. Thank you to every single one of you. Help us get to that 5,000 very quickly. One of the ways you can do it is you can see a pinned comment there at the top of chat. That is a tweet we put out. If you can go retweet over on Twitter to help spread the word of the Investing Bros. We are the fastest growing and most amazing crypto community in the game, and you guys are a part of it. Help the family grow and go share our video with other people. But as I mentioned, I'm joined this morning by Mr. Piper from Texas. How are you doing this morning, Piper?
I'm doing great, man. I am so happy to be back. I'm gonna go to bro camp because I want to hang out with the bros, man.
Yes.
I am so happy to be back doing this for today. When T-Shroom said, "Hey, I'm going on vacation. Can you cover for me?" I was like, "Yes, thank you." I mean, it's hard to do this every day with what I've got going on the personal side, but absolutely was loving the opportunity to come on and hang out with you today, Tim, and do some TA and talk to the people. And shout out to everybody out there in the chat right now. I appreciate y'all being here, man. But
Yeah,
I will
it'll be
say
fun.
I am not seeing as many likes as I am people in here right now. So you guys need
No.
to smash that like button. I'm here. Smash the like button for me. Let's go. So.
Dude, I can't wait to see what happens today. We also usually on Friday have Gem Hunter coming. There's no additional Gem Hunter coming, but I told
I'm a
Piper
gym
this
hunter.
morning, Piper's a Gem Hunter. So the whole show is Gem Hunters in. Shout out to the Gem Hunters, Archie, Seth, SM, everybody who's a Gem Hunter. You guys there's a great community over there. Make sure you go follow them as well. But we have Piper here today filling in for Gem Hunters. So I'm about to read some names here in chat before we get into the crypto. Again, we're going to do our normal economic outlook. We're going to look at some charts. We're going to talk with the community. We're going to answer some Q&A. We also have a couple stories we'll just kind of discuss. But we do have to announce, guys, this week was our first ever Investing Bros price predictions, and this is what we're going to do because our predictions was we called what would be the highest price Bitcoin we get this week, what would be the lowest price. So I'm going to say who are the bulls and the bears of the week. Well, T-Shroom had the highest prediction of 29,698. Of course, guys, you know we got up to 30,200. So T-Shroom wins first Bitcoin bull of the week here in Investing Bros. Even though Piper had the lowest prediction, we didn't get to his 28,499. I had the second lowest at 28,800. So that makes me the bear of the week. You'll go figure. Tim is the bear of the week. Make sure you guys tune in. We have a new section over in our Discord, and I don't think. Let me see here. I might Piper pull it up so that people can see it and have you share my screen in just a second. You do need to be a silver member to be over here. Yeah, go ahead and go share my screen. You guys can see here on the Investing Bros Discord. If you are a member, you get a bunch of cool things over here. There's our new price prediction page. We got some memes in here, and I think Eric Wallen came in and said 29.3. So by default, he only put one prediction, but Eric Wallen is the bull of the week of the community. But make sure this next week when we do those predictions, you guys are back in. Let's go back to BroCam here, Piper. Make sure you guys participate with us next week. Speaking of those members, guys, I'm looking at chat and I'm seeing a buttload of beautiful green names with green badges. Well, guess what, guys? I think at some point today, I don't know if we'll see it while we're live on the show. We'll
TikTok.
probably see it Monday. We will see yellow badges for every member who's been a member for over a month. Remember, when you sign up for our membership, you're not just supporting the bros. You get some really cool features as well. But one of them is those cool green names with badges. 1 month members get a yellow badge. 2 month get, I believe, a red badge. Then you
Yep.
have to wait 6 months before you get a blue badge and a whole year before purple. So make sure you get into the membership, get to hang out with us in bro times, get to see some behind the scenes videos, and get cool features on Discord, but also you get that really cool badge and you get those stickers. So speaking of community, Piper, let's get in here. Let's read some names this morning. Our first commenter of the day was Mr. Yair Navarro, coming in first place. Close behind him was It's a Me, a Crypto Mario is
I
here.
love that name.
I know. You have to say it in the Mario voice.
You have
You
to.
cannot
You have
just
to.
read it boringly.
It's state law.
State law. Yeah, here in
State
Georgia
law.
and Texas only.
Yep.
See, T-Shroom doesn't have to because Florida hasn't caught up yet, but Georgia and Texas, there's state law. Third place, a very common face here early in chat, a mellow fellow coming in third with that blue wrench. Glad to see you here. Crypto Ben Franklin, everyone's favorite non-president, is here this morning. Mike Play is here. Let's see who else. Eric Wallen saying Piper's back. Lots of capital letters there. I'm assuming that's a very cheerful Eric Wallen, not a very angry. You never know with all caps.
Eric Wallen is always pleasant with me. Always.
That's good.
I don't
Okay,
know.
well,
I don't know what issues you have with him, Tim.
I don't know what I did to him other than wearing a hoodie. I don't know why that pisses the man off so much, but he really doesn't like that I wear a hoodie. You know, it's just okay. But I love Eric Wallen. I know Eric Wallen deep loves me. All right, let's see who else. Crypto Alchemist is here this morning. Good to see you here. Got to meet you down in Miami. Guys, I cannot wait to meet all of you guys. We got definitely here soon have to decide what type of meetup we're going to have because, again, getting to put faces to these names is fantastic. Who else do we have here? Gia S is here, our fresh mod. Gia, make sure we get you into the mod section over on our Discord as well. We get to talk to you guys over there. Ada Ace is here this morning. Let's get a couple more here. Joe Nickel is here. Ihachi, I think we've decided. We said it's been a while since I've had to read that name, but I'm gonna go with Ihachi.
It's Ihachi, and that's Ihachi. Tobias. That's Tobias over in Chart Prime Discord. Long time Chart Prime member over there. So
good to see you here, man. Nancy Croy is here. Let's go 3 more names, and we're going to go into our content. Bobby Smoot, Justin Eubanks, and Ninja Glock are wrapping up our call-outs here. Guys, I know there's a lot of you in here. I did not get to read your name, and it's not because I don't love you. It's just time to go ahead and get into our great content. And, guys, Piper's back, so that means I don't do Economic Outlook this morning. Piper gets to do the Economic Outlook. What are we seeing this morning, Piper?
Well, first off, I want you to know, Tim, we're probably going to get a whole bunch of badges because Jim Cramer said badges. We don't need no stinking badges, which means he's bearish on badges, which means that we're probably going to get a lot of people to sign up for memberships now. So
I think that's a good little point there. Are you guys trading the inverse Kramer? If so, that means you need to get yourself a badge. Just hit join right there. You guys can join silver members. And I've been talking with T-Shirt. I'm not gonna make any announcement here, but we have some other things we really want to do to excite our silver and gold members as well. So there might be some new updates coming there as well. But you got to stick around and stay in the community to hear that. But yeah, Piper, let's go ahead and get in here. What is happening over in the Economic Outlook this morning?
Let's jump in there, man. Let's do that. All right. So jumping over here, I need to get my country straight here because I've got it all over the place. Because I did not prep it. I completely failed on prepping this. So let me just go to the United States here and clear all this other off real fast. I will tell you that the data that came in yesterday on the CPI was not as big of an impact as I thought it would be. We did have a little bit of maneuvering on it, and it did not come in as high as I thought it would. The Cleveland Fed completely wrong on all of that. So that being said, was a little bit of a wrong call on my part. And I'm honest when I make a mistake. That's what I do, right? So taking a look here, PPI month over month coming in this morning, guys. Actual was at 0.3. Consensus was that it would be at 0.2. Forecasted to be at 0.2 also. If you guys are curious what that is, it is the producer prices. So this is how much it costs for them to produce goods for the month over month. Actually went up a little bit. So they're seeing a little bit of impact from the cost of goods right now that we're hearing about. So core PPI came in again just the same as it was for the headline PPI, and then Michigan consumer sentiment is going to be coming out at 8 o'clock today. This is going to be like what is the consumer rating sentiment, the sentiment rating for the consumers. Do they feel good about the marketplace? Do they feel bad about it? So next week, though, guys, I'm going to be watching, because we know we're closing out Friday. Next week, I'm going to be watching the big one. It's going to be retail sales, because I think that's actually going to be down. This is calling it up. I think we're going to come in probably closer to 0.3, not to 0.4. I don't think it's going to be as high as I think it is. I think retail sales are falling back just a little bit. And then we do get the FOMC minutes on the 16th of August next week. So jumping over, let's take a look at Trueflation. Trueflation dropping 0.08%, almost an entire tenth. Almost a tiny little tenth of a percent there. Coming in at 2.25. Again, U.S. government reporting 3.2. So Trueflation still saying that the Fed don't know how to do math. And if we jump over into the most recent liquidations here, guys, we are looking right here. Bitcoin coming in with 6.38 million. That is going to be a majority of those are going to be long liquidations, because we had a little bit of a pullback on Bitcoin, and that's what happens, right? So total overall for the past 24 hours across the entire crypto market, 26 million, 16 million in longs, 9.4 million in shorts. So that's what we're seeing there, Tim, on the macroeconomic side. What do you have for the FOMC?
Yeah, there's an update here, guys. After not a lot of updates coming in here, we're still seeing 88% predicting that we're gonna go ahead and pause here in September. Here's where the change comes, though, guys, and it's starting to be a slight change. November is starting to pick up a little bit more traction here, saying potentially there's one more rate hike. We know that this is what Jerome Powell has said. Several other chairmen from the Fed have kind of insinuated that they want to do one more rate hike. We'll have to see. It did just tick down to 29. When I checked here a second ago, it did say 33%. So we'll see how this continues to adjust. But a lot of this has shifted. Let's see if this shifted on me again. Because when I checked just a second ago, okay, it shifted right back. But you can see March, after the last couple of days, have been overwhelmingly saying March should be the first time that we get a rate cut. While technically 37.8% is higher than 37.4%, that is super close. Only moments ago, I just saw that the prediction for a continued pause in March was still here. So there's a little bit of a change. May is where we're getting a little more confidence. You can see it's actually split between one rate cut and two rate cuts, a 50 cut in May. This is really important again, guys, because even if we don't change, even if this continues to change, people will invest and trade crypto and stocks based off of what they're predicting here with these. So a little bit of an update here on the market, the FOMC predictions. Let's move to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. Let's just refresh to make sure that's the right number. Yeah, coming in right now at 51. So we've been kind of playing here between 49 and 54 over the last couple of days, coming in squarely there in the middle at 51 on the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. So still sitting nicely in neutral. Let's do a really quick crypto market cap open and see what's happening here. Coin market cap, excuse me. And then we're going to jump in and get some charts going. Some dueling charts today with me and Piper in the saddle. Let's see here. A lot of red in the top 10. Dogecoin, one of the very few green, but even that you can see 0.02% up. Not very strong in the green. To be fair, we're not very strong in the red either. We're kind of hovering exactly where we were about 24 hours ago for the most part here in the top movers. Number 11, Polygon, right there, down 1%, give or take. So far it is the leader, although Bitcoin Cash now takes the lead at 2.5% down in the last 24 hours. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers and losers, though, over the last 24 hours. Not a lot of gainers here. Biggest one, Rocket Pool, up 3.8. Thorchain's up there as well. Sui is in the green once again, up 1.72%, but overall, nothing necessarily crazy positive happening there. Phantom, another layer one, up a little bit, but that's, of course, where no Phantom is now shifting from being a layer one into being a layer two. Kind of interesting. Phantom, maybe they get a little bit of a bounce there, doing what they really should do to keep surviving. It is a bigger red day, guys. GMX leading the way at 9% down. XDC, again, had two bullish days in a row, but we told you guys, sometimes when you get those bullish days, you flip and have one of the bigger red days. Sure enough, that's what XDC is doing. Arweave as well is down 4.5%. Aptos had a green day the other day. It's down today. HBAR has been on a tear recently, but when it goes up, sometimes has to come down. HBAR in our biggest losers. That's kind of the biggest ones we have so far here Interesting down here. Curve down a little bit. There's an article I have. I don't know if we'll get to it, but Curve token, guys. I don't know what your thoughts are. Let me know in chat. Are you guys going to go ahead and try to buy or maybe trade a little bit of Curve? There's an article that we're going to talk about later that might be a little bit of a reason to say, hey, it might not be time to completely give up hope on Curve. But with that said, let's go to BroCam here real quick, Piper, as we introduce it. We're going to charts. Guys, I'm excited to have Piper back on. I'm going to let him kind of take the lead on charts today, but we will be doing some dueling charts. We're going to have these conversations going back and forth. Let's start off with Bitcoin, though, Piper. What are you seeing on the charts? And what have you been just sitting at your computer screen every morning watching me doing TA screaming, Tim, talk about this indicator or talk about this point? What do you got for us?
So, Tim, I got to tell you, I've been watching some of the higher time frame stuff lately.
Okay.
I've really stopped looking at like these really close looks of the like 4 hour and daily, and to me, that's getting really close now.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at an hour chart in a long time. And the reason why is because if the overall bullish structure. But despite everything going on macroeconomically, like doom and gloom every day, this bank, Fed said that. China's in a bad position. I don't know if you've seen what's
Yeah.
going on with China.
Yep.
There massive amounts of debt going on over there, and they're actually going into deflationary, which is really bad for an economy. So, despite that, so I'm just really watching what's Bitcoin looking like on the big time frame. So let's go ahead and jump in here, and I'll show you. I talked about this on tactical trades on Tuesday when I was on with T-Shroom, but I really just want to give people that did not watch that. There was a lot less there than there is here, guys. The Bitcoin structure. This look a bottom, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher highs. We still wicked above and made a new higher high. This is bullish structure. What I'm watching is for if we break this 25,291, 25,300 line, this is going to be where I see that Bitcoin's trend has reversed, right? And the trend is your friend till the end. So as long as this stays this way, that's where I'm at. For those that have not seen this chart, this is my horizontal Fibonacci. It's a Fibonacci channels. And right now, this 786 down here, this is going to be where I'm watching for the support that has to take place on Bitcoin. So technically, if you go all the way back in history here, guys, you can see we stay above the golden pocket every bull cycle, or every bear cycle, I should say. We broke below it on this cycle. We retested perfectly right here back on the week of 12 September 2022. And then that was where we came down. We hit this bottom part here and up we went. I've also thrown onto here this is a weekly chart, guys. So I've also thrown on here fixed range volume profile. Right now, we're at this critical little point, and I'm going to draw it on here just real fast. We got this value area high here. And then we've got this diagonal support that should hold. The 786 should be what we bounce off of if we go any lower. Like this should be what we hold. If we don't, guys, we're looking at coming down here to the zero line on this, which would be down in the $10,000 range. So this little support line here that I at 25.3, the 786, and then the value area high, this is going to be the play area, and that's going to be coming in between 30,600 and 25.3. I think that's where we're going to see Bitcoin's playground at over going in, for the next months ahead. So if once we break above that value area high, which I think is going to happen probably in Q4, October, November period, once we break above this and we get support on that value area high, that's where I'm watching for it to come back up. And just to remind everyone, there's two yellow lines that we have going on here. This is where I believe that we're going to be at for the low end to the high end, most likely the lower side of that during the halving, which is around April right now. So, and I'm thinking like 38,000 going into the halving will be the minimum that we'll be at based on the 786 hitting that halving mark. The high being the bottom band of the golden pocket coming in at around 69,000, our previous high. So I don't think we're going to be at that high. I think we're going to be most likely down here. The one other thing I want to show on the high time frames that I've really been digging into, and then I'll get into some lower time frame TA, is the Gaussian channel here on the weekly, which is a massive, massive deal here, guys. You see, once it goes red, it stays red, and that's the crypto winter, right? Just like right here, went red, crypto winter. There's our bottom. We won't count this. This is the Roro dump, and that doesn't matter. If you can see, once we turned green on the weekly, it was this median line, and then the top of the Gaussian channel where we had all of our support. If we look right now, we just turned green again. This is extremely bullish for Bitcoin. And
Hmm.
so that's why I'm not really concerned what's going on the hourly when I'm looking at this, because even if we come down and we hit this median line, we're looking at 24,500, 24,300 range. The bottom of the Gaussian channel, 20,000. Down there in that range is that CME gap. So even if we wick in, close that CME gap, and stay in this Gaussian channel, this will stay green. If we stay in the green, guys, that means this. That means we are in this window officially that we saw in the previous cycle. Just like before that, go back here, take a look. Once we went into the green, that was it for the entire run. So very bullish on this. And I'd love to know your thoughts on what I'm seeing on the high time frames before I jump into the 4 hour. So I'm going to jump back to Brocam.
Well, yeah, I've been saying here for a while. You can go to my screen, Piper. When you even look at the oscillators and the indicators of what's happening here, we recently on the weekly chart had bearish divergence print, on our chart prime oscillator, but also just, to the naked eyeball, using RSI or any oscillator, you're seeing this bearish divergence come in. That's a big deal. Also, you can see the money flow on this higher time frame is coming to the downside. We got overextended here, and that's actually a bad sign for the bulls. That's actually more bearish, and now we're starting to come back down to level. So I agree with you 100%. The higher time frames, I still think we're moving to the downside. I'm not expecting necessarily crazy lows, but when people ask, like, hey, why, I don't use all the same indicators you just use, but even what I was looking at right there, you and I can come to the same conclusion. A 25,000, maybe even a $20,000 Bitcoin is not out of the woods just yet, and that still keeps us with setting some bullish stuff going on. But this is a very common thing, guys. Again, when you go back to 2019, you see the same thing happen. Again, some of you guys might be saying, oh, Tim's a broken record, but this is what happens. You get these pre-bull market rallies, you rally up, and then you make your way slowly back down to turn former resistance levels into support. Don't worry about COVID, guys. That's an outlier. That's a black swan event. I think in reality, if COVID had never happened, you still are revisiting this $6,600 level for Bitcoin, and then it's a very slow sideways upward movement. I think what you would have seen, guys, is something like this. You would have come back up here, kind of moved like this, hesitated slowly sideways, and then
Completely agree.
started real excitement. This is what the larger time frames are saying right now. So I think Piper is dead on. Again, we're kind of sitting when you move to we're gonna get to the shorter time frames, Piper. I want you to kind of go in deeper. When I look at the daily 4 hour, you start to see certain signs that maybe we could make another push up. Maybe we're going to push up towards 32,000, maybe get back into the bottom range of this T box 3370, maybe all the way up to 36. I like your call of being about 38,000, 40,000. I think I'd put it about 40,000, Piper. So I like your call about where price could be during the halving, but we got a lot of stuff happening. And even what you mentioned as we were getting into this, guys, we're watching China's economy start to drop. If we think that we're sitting pretty here in the United States, that's not happening either. I think there's a lot of people who are falling for the trap. You can go to Brocam while I'm saying this, and we'll go back to your screen. There's a lot of people right now, Piper, falling into this trap thinking that the economy is actually smoothly working out and everything's going to be really good. And it's like, man, I'm hoping we don't see too much turmoil, but I think we'll see pain, and I think we'll see minor details of what a recession could look like, in which case over the rest of this fall, we could see that drop to 25,000, 20,000, and then we restart the momentum and the explosiveness maybe late December, early January, and then we find ourselves by the time of halving in April at 38, 40,000. That's kind of what I'm looking for price action right now, but a lot can still change between now and then. But let's talk about this, Piper. Let's get into the shorter time frames here now on the charts.
Yep.
Not all doom and gloom. What are we thinking about maybe the next week or two when we're looking at price action?
Well, I do want to show this real fast just so
Yeah.
people are tracking. If we go to the estimated top window of the next cycle, which would be, sometime between October and November of 2025. If you take a look here, if we are staying above the 786 that entire time, that would put Bitcoin around $120,000 on the low end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it stayed in that range, that would put Bitcoin in a high of about 215,000. So I just wanted to point that out. When you look at where could we be at starting into the cycle based on this
Mm-hmm.
Fibonacci channel, where could we be at the end of the cycle? That's a pretty decent move if you went from 38,000 up to 215,000. So that's a pretty good mover. All right, so let's look here, guys. 4-hour Bitcoin. You guys, I told you on Tuesday on Tactical Trades that I had entered into a Bitcoin log right there. Still holding that right now. We have had some pullback. We did get the reversal. And right now, I told, I think it was in Discord, one of our members over there in Discord was talking about it pulling back here. And I was like, watch for it to stay in the range of the dynamic reactor and the volume flex reactor, because I have both of them on. Tim likes to use the volume flex reactor. I prefer to use them both just to give me a little bit of confluence. But you can see here, we did come down, we tested it and are sitting just below it. But right now, we are still in the buffer zone of the retest of this chart pattern that we had here, that auto printed, this fallen wedge right here. New 3.2 update. We now have buffer zones in there. It's pretty nice. We're in the buffer zone of the retest of the breakout on this. And this is a bullish pattern, just so you guys are tracking. So right now, we haven't quite hit the calculated breakout target. This is called a smart target. And what it does is it gauges what the target should be for price action on a breakout based on the momentum, the volume, and previous price action. So it's a smart target. A lot of calculations going on in there. This actually says that we should hit around 30,200. We came just under it on the wick and did not trigger it. Ironically enough, that's also going to be where we have the upper resistance line right here of the predictive ranges on Chart Prime. One thing that I will point out is that if we do come down a little bit further here, let me get rid of my white lines, because like Tim not liking dots, I hate random white lines on my chart too. If we do come down here, guys, and the reason that I haven't closed out my trade is because we have a trend assist here, and you can see that once we get a trend assist build, when we touch it, we tend to bounce off of it. So I am watching that this could come back down to 29,100 right now, very easily. I mean, well, to be fair, it could come all the way back down into this range, but I think that we're going to find support here at about 29,100, bouncing off of the trend assist here, and that's why I'm still holding this long open right now. It's currently up. Let me see here. Tim. It is currently up on my Bitcoin trade 4.9%. So that's not bad. I've got about 0.159 Bitcoin in that trade. So I'm running about, a $4,700 worth of Bitcoin in there on a 2x leverage. So 4% still decent money. So that's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the oscillators. And Tim, I was talking to you this morning about this, the new MVP oscillator that Chart Prime just released on 3.2. And you pointed out that there's some really good confluence when you use the MVP with the Prime Oscillator Pro. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that and steal some thunder here on your magic that you figured out there, guys. If you want to get to it, oscillator select. You can select the Prime Oscillator, the Trend Fusion Oscillator, which has the money flow in it. Still like to look at that and see that, and then the MVP Oscillator. But what Tim pointed out to me, and it was glorious confluence here, is that when we had these green lines down here, when they get bright green like this, what it's telling you is that this is a possible bottom. Okay, it's very similar to the Peak Seeker, but it reads a little bit different info, so you get a little bit more defined. So what I want to do, actually, Tim, is I think I'm going to throw a 50% line in here, just to have on top of this, because I like to have that visual of how high is this line. So I'm going to do that and drop this in here. Now I have this line. So what I'm going to be watching for is when we touch this, with these green lines down here, that is going to be where I'm watching for bottoms. And if you take a look here, what Tim pointed out is anytime we have the Christmas tree decorations on the outside of the chart prime here with the high green bars is when we tend to actually get these hits. Like here, we had a high one, but we came down. But look, there was nothing there on the Oscillator Pro, right? So here we had a lot of the bright green. We did hit the 50% line. We had all this here. There was a bottom. We went up from there, right? What I'm watching right now is if we come back down into this range and these lines start to come up and get close to the zero line with these bright shades of green, and this ribbon on the Oscillator Pro can come down and give us some nice Christmas tree decorations of oversold, then I'm going to be watching for that to be another indication that we have upside coming again. So that's what I'm going to be watching there between the MVP oscillator, the Oscillator Pro, and price action support ranges up here on the charts for 4 hours. That's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin, Tim. I will point out on the Prime Oscillator, RSI primed here, I do have it set on Heikinashi. You can just go in here and select Heikinashi. I will point out though, right now, we are starting to get the thinning of the Heikinashi candles, which means that it is about to possibly come back up. Anytime we start getting thin like that here, we were on the upside. Oh, go back. Don't do that yet. I hit the wrong button. There we go. Anytime that we start to get thin like that, it does a reversal. So you can see here, we came down, started to get thin, came up, got much thinner on the length of the candles for the Heikinashi, came back up. Here, got real thin, had a little continuation sideways. I'm wondering if this is going to go into a sideways motion like we saw back here, or are we about to get the thinning like here just below this 50% line where this comes back up. And that's what I'm going to be watching for there based on the RSI prime, Tim.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm seeing a little bit different. What I would say, one of the reasons why I think that the bullish momentum could be done. I do think if you share my screen, there's a level down here. If we do see some form of a bounce, I think 29.1, 109 or so could be interesting because of that order block coming here on the 4-hour chart. But even turning this off, my formation is a little bit different. Again, chart prime, it is nice, especially when you're newer to TA. What chart prime does by creating those formations for you is extremely helpful. And sometimes I even use it just to kind of get some chart vision, and then I fix it. So like I know Piper had a different one. I still think that Bitcoin just broke out of a falling wedge here. The difference is I like using it like this. I like the multiple touches here. You guys can see clearly we had a 1, 2, moved sideways till we hit resistance, 3, 4, 5, and then we did have a 6th and 7th wave. And that happens with falling wedges, but I like seeing at least 5 waves of opposite touches before I deem something a real strong formation. So this formation is playing out, and look what it did. When you take the opening of this formation right here, boom, and you move this over, you start off by saying, all right, let's look what happens when we break out of resistance. This could have given us a price action of 30,700, right? Well, no, but we came back down, we retested. So you have to kind of move it down here. Now we're talking about 30,005. Then it comes down and touches again. Now you got to talk about 30,370. Guess what we did? Even though we didn't touch, you got to come down to this lowest point we have touched. And you got to start this new prediction all the way down at 28,677 right here at this yellow, top of my yellow T box. Guess what that gave us a price prediction of? 30,183. Where did we wick out at? Slightly above that at 30,222. I think that this falling wedge has played out perfectly. And now we're moving back down to the downside, as we talked about. Again, we said this, though, Piper, a couple weeks ago. We said that we expected, after we broke and lost this strong support, a very sideways and slow downward movement back to the blue line. And sure enough, that is what we're seeing happen here. So I think Piper and I are really on the same page with a lot of this stuff. You guys can see another thing that's concerning me on the chart prime trend fusion is money flow is dropping. It's still moving the downside. Like Piper said, the RSI primed little histograms are starting to thin out, so you are seeing the momentum slow down, but potentially are what we're going to see is just the more volatility, like I said, pulling back up the support resistance and also order blocks. Do we see a bounce back down here to 29.1? Maybe we now come back up, turn this 12-hour strongest resistance level at 29.3 into resistance rather than support, and then make our way back down to 28.6, maybe even lower, touching this blue line, maybe even wicking a little bit below. And then we make our decision point. Is it time to go ahead and go to the upside, or is it time to continue to the downside? Let's go to Brocam here real quick, Piper. It is 9:36. We're probably going to move on and talk about some other stories, but let's look at chat here for a second. King D just said, but Tim is it going up or down? Well, at the moment, it is going sideways, but I think, King D, that it's going to do both. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. And that's the future of Bitcoin's price for forever. Up and down, 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 up and down. Yeah. Piper, what do you think? I know you're in longs right now. So again, there's still rooms to the upside, but do you agree that we more than likely will see a $28,000 price, whether that's 28,000 or 28.6, or do you think we get back above 30K before that happens?
I think it's very possible, Tim, extremely. But just so you guys know, and this will help you understand where I'm at with that question. I'm only in with 10% of my trade account on all 5 of my trades. So Doge, Link, Bitcoin, XRP, and ETH. I've only got 10% of my account deployed into the trade. Why is it not more? Because I'm hoping for, 28,000s to average in some better entry and move my dollar cost average my entry into the trade. So I would love to see it go down a little bit more so I can get even better entries. But as of right now, I want exposure because the potential right now I feel is just as strong for it to explode up as it is to dump down. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, before we jump into some of the topics we want to discuss, now that we've kind of broken down what charts are looking like, and this was great. I mean, we only talk about Bitcoin, but guys, in case you're ever wondering, you're coming in and saying, "Could you guys look at my altcoin or this?" We will from time to time definitely look at altcoins, but one of the number one factors that help contribute as to where altcoins will go is what is Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin is king in crypto, and the markets. The best I've described like this before: when you go to Disney World, if you have a small child and you put your child on a leash, that child is never going to stand right beside you. And walk with you side by side. Sometime that child will be way out in front of you. Sometime that child will be way behind you. But ultimately, that child is going wherever you're going to go if you're holding the leash. You also could say with a dog. For anyone who's not a parent, but you have a dog, same thing with dogs, unless you train them well. My point here is Bitcoin is like that. Bitcoin is the steady mover, and altcoins are like the child or the dog on the leash that's not well trained. And sometimes they run out ahead, and sometimes they fall back behind, but they will continue to flow in a similar pattern to how Bitcoin flows. So hopefully that helps you guys as to why we prioritize Bitcoin TA, and then we try to dig into specifics with altcoins. But some announcements, some community time really quickly. Again, so excited to have Piper back on. If you guys are enjoying the episode so far, make sure you have smashed that like button. If you have not, what are you doing? What are you doing not smashing that like button? It's free. It's absolutely free. Tuesday, Piper is going to be on again because instead of T-Shroom being out, I will be out. I have an all-day business meeting here with Hit Network, so I will be on Tuesday, but that means you guys are blessed by the presence
that guy
of
won't
Piper.
be here.
This guy right here will not be here. But it's going to be a good day. Again, T-Shroom will be back. Piper will be here. It's going to be awesome. Make sure you are here for that. With that said, I think it's time to go ahead and jump into some of our stories here that I want to cover with you, Piper.
Yeah.
And let's start off with probably the biggest thing of the day that maybe we've heard it already. I have not seen this break just yet, but everyone is expecting. If you share my camera real quickly, or share my screen, excuse me. The SEC, this was posted yesterday, guys, but the SEC to announce major Bitcoin ETF decision today, guys. Today is the last day. Technically, they have till Sunday, but they don't meet on the weekend, so they have to decide today. Are they going to accept the ARK Invest ETF, or are they going to delay it? Well, even Cathie Wood herself believes that they're going to be delaying it once again. Piper, let's go back to Brocam. I just wanted to kind of focus on that, and then we'll have a short discussion here. Don't need to stay here too long because we have other stories we can talk about today, but do you think that this is already baked into the Bitcoin price, or do you expect this afternoon when we believe an article will come out saying that Gary Gensler and the SEC have asked for a delay and they're punting it back to December or January? Do we think that Bitcoin price could fall, or this will have no effect whatsoever?
So I think some of it's baked in. I think this is a half-baked market right now. I think everyone's sitting like I am right now. They've got a little bit of exposure just in case, but they haven't deployed fully into it yet. So it is very possible that the ETF being denied straight out denied, could cause dumpage because that's, you've got a lot of retail volatility that can take place in a moment like that. But I also think that you got a lot of people that are sitting there with money, and if it does get approved, could dump it in. So while yes, it is baked in, I don't think it's fully baked, and I don't think everyone's fully deployed into the market yet, Tim. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards too. I think there's a lot of experts in this space. When I say experts, I mean people who pay attention and they've been preparing themselves for this. But never underestimate sheep in crypto, guys. That just get blindsided by things that we saw coming, and then it ends up being an excuse. That's another thing. And I'm gonna close with this. Remember that sometimes news is more noise and is blamed for big price movements up and the downside. But as Piper and I were kind of looking at, there's some chart reasons why Bitcoin could be moving down today. Watch this news break and price fall to the downside, maybe down to that 29.1 or so. And then everyone's like, why did price drop? And they're going to say, oh, it's because the SEC punted. But it's like, no, that's just the excuse for the price to do exactly what it was supposed to do in the first place. But good analysis there again. Well, let's continue to watch how that one happens. There was a chat put here. I'm very interested. I have not seen this, but Dylan Martinez says, can we talk about Coinbase backtracking on crypto being a financial future and now claim they are closer to collectible and beanie babies? That doesn't even sound like a real story because again, Brian Armstrong is that
Super
would
bullish on crypto.
yeah, I would say if he said that, Dylan, that would be the end of Coinbase. Like he would be obliterating his company that is backed on the concept that crypto is the future. If crypto is not the future, Brian Armstrong needs to get out of crypto and Coinbase needs to go ahead and just die. That's what needs to happen there. So
Well, here I'm going to look at coin and see what it's doing right now on the stock.
yeah,
It's
I'm
it's
interested in
it's
weird
down
story.
2.8% here, Tim. It's down
It's not a
2.8%.
lot.
So nothing, no,
It's not a
not at
lot.
all. Not when you consider that, Tesla's down 2.6 right now. Can I click that? Thank you. Like there's Tesla. Tesla's dropping just as much. Amazon's fighting to hold. It's creating a nice doji there. Google is down. MicroStrategies, meh. And then Clean Spark, guys, Clean Spark. There's Clean Spark
Hmm.
making a nice little flag up here for some more upside. So we'll have to watch and see. Nice little rejection though on Clean Spark right there on that prime range. These little lines that run here, they're dynamic ranges, but they are fixed based on the most recent activity. So they're kind of like Fibonacci's on the ocean. They're really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice rejection on it there. So
Well,
yeah, that's so I don't think that anything came out of hard on that coin. I think that's FUD. That's FUD.
I think so. I think so. Let's move on, guys. Let's get a bullish story here on a Friday, a positive, uplifting Friday. Even though, again, in the shorter time frame, I think that prices are going down. Let's talk about a story that potentially is signaling that we should be seeing upside. Again, not that the bull market is going to bring upside, guys, but here's part of the reason why. Bitcoin exchange balance at 5-year lows. Non-zero addresses are at all-time high. You guys can see here a couple different charts we have pulled up from Glassnode in this article. The big number here, they say so Bitcoin balance on exchanges 5-year low, putting the figures at 2,280,636.886 Bitcoin on exchanges. That is super, like you said, super low, 5-year low. That is a bullish sign, guys. Anytime you're seeing that Bitcoin is coming out of exchanges, that is bullish. I mean, just even go back here and look at where the peak of where the most of it was on exchanges. It's back here at the lows. The COVID lows we had back in 2020. Bullish. It's very bullish when you start to see this stuff go low, and then it'll come back in. As we start to rise up and the price goes back to the upside, we'll start to see it go to the upside here as well. Another bullish thing here. This is the number of non-zero addresses. Guys, we're still low in price action here on Bitcoin. We
Hey
are
Tim,
still, yep,
can you zoom that in just a little bit?
exactly. There we go.
There we go.
Too,
Thanks.
too much. Bitcoin non-zero addresses, guys, we're hitting an all-time high. Why is this significant? Because nobody is watching crypto right now. Nobody, like, there's so many people who have just tuned out and said, I'll come back when things get interesting. But yet the addresses, the non-zero addresses are still growing. This is extremely bullish. Another reason why, guys, I think that while I'm just going to keep myself conservative with an $150,000 prediction for Bitcoin price, when I hear people say 200,000 or higher, there's an outside chance that it happens, guys, because of the institutional money coming in. We talked about that video yesterday, Piper. I believe you're in here watching with, we're seeing Bloomberg analysts starting to get kind of bullish on Bitcoin, insinuating that people should be putting their money in. Go back to Brocam here real quick. What are your thoughts about this, Piper, about where we're kind of going here? All-time high non-zero wallets. We're really, really low on exchange money. We're seeing potentially boomers begin to get interested in investing in Bitcoin. And we know from an earlier article this year, there are $72 trillion of baby boomer money alone, that even we got a small fraction of that to come into Bitcoin or crypto could be huge. What are your thoughts about that?
So typically they say, what is it? 1 to 3%. Is that what they consider for high risk investment
Yeah.
of a
Yeah.
portfolio in the institutional world? So,
Yeah.
I mean, what 1% to 3% of that? Well, 1%, how much did you say it was? Seven what?
I think they said right now there's over $72 trillion.
72 trillion. So that would be 1% would be 7.2 trillion. So
720. Yes. Just,
$720 billion.
yeah.
So
Added to what we're already doing. Yeah. Yeah.
right at 1%. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that would pretty much add like $1 billion into Bitcoin. I mean, $1 trillion almost into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That would literally double the price if that happened,
Mm-hmm.
like almost instantly. And then of course that's just the money coming in and doubling the price. Then you've got the demand for what's available squeezing it even more. So remember, it's not, there has to be someone willing to sell it at that price when they're feeling extremely bullish in order for you to get it at that price. So it could actually squeeze the price up even higher. So
and what's crazy is, again, that's $72 trillion of baby boomer money. That's not including the other people that invest using BlackRock that aren't necessarily baby boomers. Maybe we're talking about Generation X, even older millennials who have gotten into long-term investing. Long story short, there's a lot of money that potentially could be flowing into Bitcoin. And when you see people like Bloomberg, like, for example, I have a good friend named Manny. He's only 33 years old, but he lives and dies in his investment portfolio based off of what they talk about on Bloomberg. So my point here, I think that there's a lot of money that could be coming, could continue to make things very, very interesting. But you just got to be patient, guys. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to continue to be patient and wait, because this next bull market, it's going to be fast and explosive, and you got to be paying attention every single day if you want to make the gains. You have a last thought there, Piper?
I do. So I worked with the guy at my last military unit before I retired, and he longtime trader. Every day in there looking at stocks and ETFs, and knew his way around very well in the stock market world, right?
Yeah.
And so him and I had a lot of conversations about where does crypto fit in as an asset class, this and that. When he finally started getting into Bitcoin, because he didn't really mess with anything in the crypto side, he went through Grayscale to get his Bitcoin to do it that way, because
Yeah.
he did not want to mess with crypto exchanges, for good reason. For one, it's new to him. Stick with what you're familiar with. But for two, we've seen how exchanges are. So that I think is going to be a very common mentality that exists out there for investors when BlackRock gets, or ARK Invest, whoever gets their spot ETF. They want traditional ways to get access to the new asset class that they're familiar with. And I think that's the biggest thing that BlackRock and ARK Invest bring to the investment world, is access to the new asset class that traditional investors do now have an outlet to get to. They have a roadmap to get to it now. So
Yeah, good point. Very, very good point. Well, let's keep moving on here. Interesting story coming out this morning. What did I just do? Sorry, I'm trying to fix this. There we go. All right. Solana. We'll go back now. There we go. A little bit of chaos there. Solana, guys, we talked about this literally yesterday. T-Shroom was asking about where it happened to the Solana phone. Well, we got some Solana phone news. Solana cuts price of its Saga phone by 40% 4 months after the launch. Pretty much they went ahead and they originally were selling it for 1,000, trying to keep up with Apple there, and they just decided, you know what, we got to slash this price. Let's go $599. Ultimately, it's because there's zero demand for this phone. Piper, we've been talking about Solana. I know you got to hear the show yesterday. I am sitting in a place right now. We go back to Brocam now. I'm sitting in a place right now. There's really no other important details on this article. I just wanted to bring up the point. I'm still not necessarily going to become a big lover of Solana. It's still not a friend of decentralization. It is a centralized coin. But I'm kind of getting into a place as I mature in my crypto investing and my crypto knowledge. I'm like, you know what? Here's the thing, guys. As long as you are aware of a company being decentralized or centralized and you're not fooled, like that's the big problem. If you think you buy into a decentralized currency and then they flip the script on you and they control everything and it turns out to be very centralized, there's a problem there. You signed up for something that you didn't think was going to happen. If as long as you understand that Solana is a centralized company, they can make money. Now, I still think they need to fix some things on their dev team. I still think they need to continue to fight against some FUD that came in and that really negative PR they got with
Yep.
FTX. However, I think there's an outside chance that Solana does make a new all-time high. I think the community's rearing its head really strong. This isn't a positive story. The phone was supposed to be a big deal for them. There's not a lot of demand. But I want to get your take on this, Piper. What are your thoughts about Solana? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think that it's something worth at least a small percentage of your portfolio just as an outside chance of, hey, this thing could take off, so I want to make some money if it does?
So, man, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
Okay, so so do me personally, I'm not into Solana just because for the simple reason I've set all of my stuff up to be in inverse contracts, which is
Mm-hmm.
CoinM. Uh, and they don't have that availability on most of the exchanges to trade Solana against Solana. So that's my big reason for not being in it. I guess fundamentally not being into it, I just don't trust it anymore. It's got a lot of FUD on it. There's a lot of things that just are not don't make me too prone to throw my money at. Uh, if you want to, I mean, hey, there, yes, absolutely. Look, I will not underestimate it. It's not that I'm saying that it's not going to pump. I've learned after Shiba Inu and Doge, never underestimate anything. It does have, they do have a name out there. They do have a community out there, so it could absolutely take off, and you can make money on it. But
Yeah.
me personally, there's other things I can make my money in.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm kind of in a boat where I understand. One of the arguments against Solana would be, it's not just that price got completely slashed by FTX. It's the price probably got propped up because of FTX in the first place. So there's an argument that they don't make a new all-time high. But let's just say they don't even make a new all-time high. Let's say they double top. In an explosive bull market, that's still a 20x for Solana. And then there's the outside chance that, again, if they got the VC money and they got the backing of FTX in the past, maybe they're able to put together a team that's enticing to other VCs that they get some new funding here. Here's what I'm getting at. It's not a decentralized coin. I don't like everything that Solana does, but you cannot argue with the fact that they, after something that should have killed them, the attachment to FTX, it didn't. They're bouncing back. They're as strong of a coin right now as Cardano. Both of them down 90% from all-time highs. I think for me, it's a little bit of I might put a little bit of money, and I'm talking about very little bit of money into it, just as a diversification. Let's see what happens here with Solana. For all we know, again, they partner with someone huge, and it just takes off, and the rest of us look like we have egg on our face because we just didn't like them because they were centralized. They're not FTX. That's another big distinction. They were manipulated by FTX for sure. But I need to call a spade, and people who say that they equal FTX, that's just not true. They were two different companies that definitely supported each other, but they were not the same. Sam Bankman-Fried did not own Solana. He didn't control Solana. He just propped them up because they were a centralized company that he could manipulate. Let's keep moving on, though. Let's move to another story here. I actually have another one that just broke, but we'll kind of close with that one because I'll definitely hear what Piper has to say. But I told you guys earlier, Curve, guys, Curve has been dropping, of course, after that massive hack. The question is, can you ever trust Curve again? Well, there's a small and a very small reason as to why potentially maybe you can, and that is because Curve token climbs after Binance Labs commit to $5 million investment. Now, in the crypto world, guys, 5 million, that's not a lot of money. That's why I'm saying this is small. But if Binance Labs is putting any type of money into Curve, that means that there is an outside chance that maybe it does have a bounce back. Again, another story I don't think we really need to read, so we can go back to Brocam here. But Piper, yeah, Curve DAO, one of the big losers. A lot of people losing confidence in it, saying with the hack of that magnitude,
Yep.
could you ever trust it again? Well, it looks like Binance Lab is saying maybe. What are your thoughts?
So I think that how many times have we seen this, Tim, where something happens as a big hack or some news comes out on a token or a project and it just massively dumps and everyone goes, it's dead. And then all of a sudden you see this huge, we just talked about one, Solana, massive return rally. I think there are people that literally sit there and wait for the most bloodiest incident to happen on price action to throw money into that, clean up that blood, and ride the rocket all the way up. Again, I wouldn't sleep on Curve either. Yeah, they got a hack. Yeah, they've got, they had a massive dump because of it. But there's people that sit and wait for that opportunity, man. So.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Last story we have here, though, Piper, and I know you are going to like this one. I'm going to go back over on Twitter. I just saw this break from Watcher.Guru. Justin, Elon Musk says all proceeds from his fight against Mark Zuckerberg will be donated to veterans. That's pretty cool. I actually really like this. We've talked about this a good amount. Let me start off, Piper, and I want to get your fresh take. Who wins the fight, Elon or Zuck? Who you got?
Man, I'm gonna have to go. So you got reach, you got that reach with the Zuck punch, but Elon, he's got the weight behind it, like
I don't think Zuck has longer arms. I think Elon still has the reach.
I'm gonna have to go with Elon, man, just because
Zuck's
I'm
a
I'm
small
I'm
man.
not invested in Meta, I'm invested in Tesla, so let's go. Come on.
Yeah, I will say, because this is kind of like almost a joke argument, but I really hope it happens. It is interesting. Elon did announce that there's a chance he might have to get some surgery on his neck / upper back. That's concerning a little bit. But either way, I think someone asked the other day, no matter who wins, is this a win for everybody? I think it is a win. First of all, it's a win because it'll raise how many billions of dollars? It's how many billions of dollars is this fight going to raise? And he's saying that the profits will be going to veterans. I think this is super cool. How do you not like Elon Musk for a move like this? What are your thoughts about that, Piper? I'll let you kind of close out this point here. What are your thoughts about his decision to go with this going to veterans rather than any other charity?
So first off, I have to ask, which veterans is it? Because I know some people that are veterans of the crypto world that have worse PTSD than I have from 4 combat tours. So
Mm.
can we define what type of veterans he's referring to here?
Yeah, I'm looking through the article again because I just saw it while we were live.
Oh, I'm sure it's
I'm
military
not.
vets. I'm just being
Oh, I mean, yeah,
facetious.
it's military. Well, I didn't know if you were asking like if he was giving it to a specific
No,
veteran charity
no,
that goes after it.
I
Yeah,
was talking
yeah.
about crypto veterans have PTSD too.
I see what you're saying. I see. Good point. I took you a little too literally there. Is my
Yeah, too
problem.
literally. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's a good cause. I think it's going to be fun. At the end of the day, it's just good fun. This is what billionaires do when they're bored. They entertain us with UFC style fights between two people that you would never ever see in a UFC fight. So there you go.
Yeah. I got to shout out as we're wrapping up today's stream again. This is a Friday show, guys. So this will be the last one of this week, but I have one exciting announcement for you here in a second. Got to read the comment from B Team Crypto. This was pretty funny. He said, "Curves equals Tim's gym." That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Nice, nice.
Fun fact, I don't go to a gym. I work out at home in my garage. That's a man gym right there. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in again for today. Again, thank you, Piper, for coming back with us today. It's been awesome
Of
having you.
course.
He'll be back on Tuesday. But also, guys, tomorrow there'll be nothing going out. But that could be the last one because T. Shroom and I, and whenever Piper wants to, he's always welcome. we're going to be starting next week a Saturday morning live stream. I know I've said 11 o'clock. We'll see if it ends up being 11 o'clock or 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. Either way, it will not be 9 a.m. Hopefully, not only with this Saturday stream do we catch new audience of people that want to tune into crypto news on weekends, but also maybe we get some of our friends over in Cali can sleep in a little bit and still wake up and watch the Investing Bros. If that's something that excites you, though, here's what I need you to do. A, you got to smash the like button. B, if you're not subscribed, I'd hit the subscribe button. But C, let everyone know. Use any platform you have, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Help share the news. Help share Investing Bros as we continue to grow. And again, guys, let's get to 5,000 subscribers within the next 2 months. We can do it, but we need your help. Help spread the word. With that said, though, guys, I hope every single one of you have a fantastic weekend. We will see you Monday morning once again. Everybody, see you Monday.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.